So LYNX is kind of a fantastic hero. I honestly mean that. You might have read the title and think I'm sarcastic, but really, we use her in the Storm King for a reason, because as soon as you pop her kunai, you just get a 4-second 140% damage bonus, which is substantial. We use her in the Storm King fight because that's what you need. Just big bursts of damage for a short period of time. If you're taking out the crystals, or if you're going against a mini boss, you can do a lot of damage really quickly with LYNX. That's what she's great for. You can even use her in the end phase to just more than double your damage to kill the Storm King fast. However, this has led to a phenomena that I don't personally understand, where people think she's good all the time, and that's where things get a little tricky. I have been hearing about this a lot. Apparently public lobbies are just rampant with LYNX Cassandra. I saw a screenshot in Discord today of not one but 2 LYNX users in Fortnite, which is tricky, because here's the deal. That kunai for 4 seconds is on a 15-second cooldown, which even with Happy Holidays, because I want to use LYNX at her best, you're going to get about a 9-second cooldown on that kunai, which is not that much. Now, that 9 seconds does apply while you're up in the air, so maybe it's like a 5-second wait, but even still, at its best, you're using a team perk like Happy Holidays when you're not using Blast from the Past or Totally Rockin' Out. And even if you were using those other abilities, your ability is up so rarely that if you wanted a damage bonus, you could have just used Ramirez in the lead, or if you're running a crit build, you could have just done Sledge in the lead, or if you're doing a different weapon altogether, like a shotgun build, you can plan accordingly. That's a Shrapnel Headhunter right there. LYNX in the lead in regular missions doesn't make a lot of sense. However, if you are using something like a rocket launcher, like in my Wrath video, linked down below, LYNX made a lot of sense in that build because we were just using the Wrath. Might as well boost the damage all the time. However, I believe the beginner players running LYNX all the time are not typically using the rocket launchers. So what I'm going for, I asked Twitch chat just to help me out. What is a build that would be kind of a normal LYNX build? So that's where I showed Sledgehammer and Ramirez. I'm thinking Rio because of, like, I don't know, Scourge energy damage, because they always use mythic weapons, because I mean, right, Storm King. Fleet, because I don't know. I'm just making a general build here. You can comment down below some of the craziest LYNX builds you might have seen. And Coconuts, because I need a little bit of healing and some bonus damage. And I'm just going to use this with a myriad of weapons. I'm going to start with the Scourge, maybe switch to a rocket launcher. We're just going to have fun this video. Yeah, Ben's Warcry, I get excited. So I just want to show why this is kind of bad, and let's just see how it goes. All right, I'm using the Scourge versus some mist monsters. So this is the good part of LYNX, okay? Big damage, easy. You can knock out the targets, no problem. But I'm kind of just stuck up in the sky. Maybe not the best approach. That could have been my fault. Let's try it again. All right, round 2. So let's just see it. Going up in the air, switching off between 2 targets, because that's kind of how you want to use the Scourge. All right, they took a little bit longer, but this is where LYNX is bad. You have this downtime where she's just a completely dead perk until you have to wait for her to come back, and then you're always jumping up in the air. The damage bonus is nice. I'll definitely agree with that. However, when she's gone, she's not a commander that's doing anything anymore, and you're always going up and down and up and down and up and down, which is very, very tough to deal with. And then as showed, you're completely exposed. You're way up in the air, easy for all the targets to hit you, but I can see why this is an intoxicating thing for players, because if you actually look at my old video, I actually recommended LYNX. Yeah, way back in the day when the hero changes first came around and hero loadouts first became a thing, she immediately stood out to my friends and I as a really good hero. We were like, wait, 140% damage bonus on command? That's fantastic. Then we brought her in game and we're like, oh shit, this is kind of tough to deal with. Like, this is a quirky hero, hard to aim. Ben's Warcry is not gonna save me. Like, I'm not really sure if this is the pick. And then, like, days after recommending her, I just stopped using LYNX for the reasons aforementioned. Like, the damage is great temporarily, but not really suited for everyday missions. It's really good big damage, but there are way too many downsides that really balance LYNX out. And so that's what sort of perplexes me, is why she's so popular, because I feel like even a noob can run LYNX and pretty quickly find out that they might have made a mistake picking her as a commander. All these awkward deals with her bonus not being available that long, it just kind of balances out to a hero that's a lot more balanced than she seems. But why LYNX? Why is she, of all heroes, as popular as she is? I kind of don't get it. I want to know the comments down below and what you guys think, because I feel like, due to my findings with that old video, I feel like she's been popular longer than Storm Kings existed. but I felt like she would have fallen out of favor once people realized kind of the downsides. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Oh yeah, we'll be fine. We don't need traps. I got LYNX.
Dropping the balloon.
All right, the defense begins. So let's see how she does. All right, we got a nice little pop of damage. That's nice to see. Easy kills, but also not as much as you might think. Like, you'd expect these enemies to die a lot faster, and to spend my entire 4 seconds on 2 pretty regularly sized husks is a little jarring. And another thing I wanted to talk about. This is the big one with like smashers, for example. That's why somebody recommended in Fortnite, and I thought that was terrible. Or they saw the links in Fortnite, and I thought that was terrible, because 4 seconds isn't always enough to even kill a smasher. Like, look at that. I barely got through one that was half health, and then the other one spawned and I couldn't do anything. Here we got 2 smashers separated. Pretty good damage, and then I fall out of the sky. Like, that was almost 1 full smasher worth of health. Whereas if I was just running a hero that buffed my damage constantly, like Ramirez or Sledge isn't constant, but crits are happening constantly, you'd have a much better time. So let's switch to my secondary here. Let's just showcase LYNX with a Deatomizer, a pretty good launcher. I'm well aware that the Plasmatic Discharger exists, but as of recording, it has not been rebalanced yet, and I'm not really sure when or how that's going to take place. So I want to see a more regular weapon, like still pretty not great. Like, you can just see how underwhelming this is, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, when I say what I say about LYNX users, it's because it looks so good on paper, and then it's just sort of not. You know, like, it's really unimpressive. So let's switch to something a little bit crazier. All right, let's do I have an energy wrath? I might have changed the element. I have multiple copies. Let's see, a crit rating, double crit damage, miss monsters and bosses wrath. Let me craft some energy ammo while we're waiting, and hope for a miss monster, because I want to get that 20% from Rio, which I don't even have, because being, you know, in the middle of the fight like I was is not very helpful to keep my shields high. So Rio is kind of a dead perk right now, but it looks like the smashers have been scared off. I think the power of LYNX has scared them away. And this is another situation where it's kind of awkward to use LYNX. There are so many basic enemies where she's not really that useful. Granted, however, in a scenario like this, it's pretty common for any loadout to just sort of ease off. Like, there aren't any big targets. The mist monsters aren't really here, so the regular enemies are just gonna go into the tunnels and die as they do. It's not really that necessary. As a YouTuber, it is excruciating to watch this happen, because I want to showcase this build and talk about all the things with LYNX, but I don't really have any targets worthwhile. Everything just kind of dies. So I guess this is just LYNX doing what she does. And I think in public lobbies, it's usually fine. You know, as a LYNX user, if you're going to have temporary damage, you're not really needed for these parts of the game. What you want to do is be the one taking out nurses and mist monsters and, you know, the propanes here. But like, look at that, 3 shots and then it's gone. And I know from the Storm King fights, you can get off maybe 4 wrath shots right away. So I'm standing in the storm. I know I'm not getting Rio, but, you know, this is pretty all right. But fading backwards and being up in the sky makes it really hard to take advantage of her damage. Somebody in this Twitch stream, AS47, mentioned something that I agree with. I should have eaten my coconut. That's my fault. Something I agreed with was, when you're readjusting your aim, even if you're the best player in the world, you're still not always going to have a perfect time taking full advantage of her. It reminds me a lot of, not Vanguard Southie, but I'm thinking of this guy on screen. I can't think of the name as a recording, but he's really good for buffing your SMG and pistol damage while you're phase shifting. But that is really tough. In fact, I don't use him a lot because it's a huge damage bonus, over 100%, but you are phase shifting constantly phase shifting, which means you're going back and forth, constantly readjusting your aim. You almost never get full advantage out of that uptime. So LYNX is very similar. You know, that damage looks very appealing. 140% is a jaw-dropping amount. For those who might want a comparison, 140% is 5% shy of what Crackshot has. But Crackshot stacks 145% and is there constantly. I'll link all my Crackshot videos down below. You can see it rolling across the screen. I love plugging them because it's fun to set that up in the edit, and I really enjoy Crackshot. But his bonus is alive the whole time if you use a proper weapon, and it's alive most of the time if you're using even something like the Hacksaw. It's always charging up. You're always... Okay, that was bad on my end, but it's always charging up. You're always getting your bonus, and that is a hero that's worthy of the damage. LYNX for 4 seconds at a time... I think the ladies in chat can agree. 4 seconds is not enough time to get anything done. So yeah, I really wish we had some big targets, because that's where LYNX excels. That's why we use her in the Storm King fight. It's amazing how such an amazing hero can be so bad. It's amazing how such a bad hero can be so good. I know I won't have shields right here, but hopefully you can forgive me. I am in the storm. I'll pop a coconut though. That's what I'm talking about. Wrath damage. Oh no. Oh no. Don't not crit. Ah! Yeah, that happens in the Storm King fights too. Sometimes RNG doesn't let you have it. So let me get a little bit closer to the fight, see what I can do against this one over here. Okay, see, some good Wrath crits can be good, but I wish I would have had more than 4 seconds to make that damage happen. I know I'm playing poorly right now, but like, that's what I'm talking about. I need a little bit more leeway with my heroes, and it just makes things really, really struggle. So yeah, Lynx is not a catch-all hero. I don't feel like noobs should be using her every single game. She has her limitations that I wish were a little more popular, but I don't understand this phenomena, and I think that's what drove this video. Is Lynx is, oh god, Ricochet, watch me kill myself right away. Yeah, okay, I'm still yeah, Ricochet mini boss. This is the same thing that hit me in the best loadout I've ever seen video, where I didn't realize I was fighting a Ricochet mini boss at the end, and I was curious why I was dying every time I shot at him, and it made sense in time. It was in the edit where I was like, oh, I was killing me. Got it. Well, I wish I had a better mini boss to showcase, but you can even see, yes, he's Ricochet, yes, I'm killing myself, but Lynx is not... So the 4 seconds isn't enough to kill the whole mini boss, and it's got more downtime than it has uptime. So I'm thinking that's why I recommended Ramirez earlier, is because her 50% is 100% of the time, whereas Lynx is like 4/9 of the time. So like my ability here, I use it, and then I've got 9 seconds. So it's got about 5 seconds on the other half, which is about a 55... Oh no, 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Okay, so it's a 44.4 repeating percent uptime, which is... not that much. That's less than half. So if you take 44% of 140, editing beast will show the number on screen, that's your average damage over time. And that number gets lower for every second you spend up in the air not shooting at something. And I know that Ramirez isn't like always doing that damage whether or not you're shooting at something, but you know, it's always there for when you are shooting at something. And it's just where Lynx really falls short. So yeah, if you're a noob watching this video, this wasn't meant to be anything rude or mean. This is just an educational showcase on why Lynx is kind of tough. I mean, I know this mission hasn't been the most forgiving, but you can kind of see how I am not the most useful teammate here. And if the numbers reflect that at the end, it's because 2 of my teammates ran Constructor or on Archer knew I was making a video, so they usually let me have as many kills as I can get. So it might disproportionately show like how useful a Lynx user can be, but I just, I think she's a little overhyped, and I'd want you to caution. I think she's a great hero to have. Everybody should run Storm King at some point in their life, and being a Lynx user is a great way to be a good teammate. But outside of the Storm King fights, I'm not sure I can think of a single time where Lynx is like definitely what you want. It's amazing how perfect she is for that fight specifically. You want high short burst damage for the mini bosses, for the crystals, and the end phase. Like every part of the Storm King is great for Lynx. But that's because once the mini bosses are dead, you don't really need Lynx's ability for the rest of that fight. You know, everything in between, the enemies shooting at you, you don't really need Lynx's kunai. So yeah, hopefully this dissuades people from running Lynx in normal missions. Hopefully this informed people who might have ran Lynx in the past, and hopefully this better informs people on how and when to use her, and it's not every game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment what you might want to see in future videos down below. Check out the links in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one, and before I say take it easy, let me just see the damage. See, I didn't even get most damage. I was 3rd place. Now, I was running around doing encampments and getting gameplay prior to our defense, and I still got 3rd place. I wish I didn't have to click through these chests. I wish they would just show me the numbers, but you can see, I didn't do too hot here. A constructor did more damage than me. Yeah, if that doesn't say it, then I don't know what does. I'll see you guys later. Take it easy. And then